All right, I think we're going live now. Hello and welcome to another installment of Get a Clue in 52 for coaches, myself included. Let me say hello right away to Sue. How's it going, Sue? How are you? Happy Friday.
I'm well, thank you. Happy
All
Friday
right.
to you.
Good. I'm in a new environment. I'm actually in my office at San Diego State University. And very shortly after today's session, I'm going to walk on over to enjoy San Diego State baseball at 2 o'clock versus Washington State University. I'm not teaching today. I'm just using my office to do the Zooms that I had on the schedule before, a little bit of fun time. But so I say that I'm not in my office because I don't have my normal stack of books. I'm not going to go through the whole progression about the history of Get a Clue in 52, but just know this is the third one. The first time we did Get a Clue in 52, there was 2 editions of it because I had all these mistakes in the first one. Then I found all those mistakes, corrected it, etc. But I've been streaming tip readings since 2020. Every Sunday in 2020, the first edition of Get a Clue in 52 would go out into the Facebook group. The 5 categories in that book were communication, in no particular order: communication, marketing, networking, sales, and accountability. And then the second time, when I cleaned everything up, the second year in 2021, I streamed all those same tips. I did tip readings again, but I streamed it all into my YouTube channel. So now I populated 2 different social channels with tip readings of the 52 tips that went in the original edition. Then a client of mine partnered with me on another edition of Get a Clue in 52, the Entrepreneur Edition. Thank you, Sue. Oh, how cute. You've got the book right there. I'm not in my normal surroundings, but I actually, you don't count me out. Don't count me out. All right, I have that one. I do have that one. I brought some up here, and I have the Integrity Game. But anyway, I don't have the original Get a Clues in 52s. But anyway, my point is that this is not the first rodeo. It's just this year what I'm doing new is we're streaming on Fridays. It's a new day. Today's a special start time, noon Pacific instead of 9 a.m. Pacific, but the default time will be 9 a.m. Pacific, except next week again. Next week, I'm going to have to choose a different day, like Thursday or Saturday for the tip reading, because I'm retained for an all-day conference where I'm delivering a keynote, and I'm delivering 2 45-minute workshops rotationally before the keynote, and then 2 45-minute workshops afterwards. So it's a full day. Yeah. And it's kind of funny. Like, I've got Aztec pride. I'm not here for the money, right? It's like I've told my students this week, I'm going to make more money in one day doing the keynote and facilitating those 4 workshops than I make the entire semester teaching one class at San Diego State. But, that's even if you count, maybe, I don't know, if you counted office rent or benefits, or I don't know. The point is that it's a fun position in life right now to be in a position to give back. Like, money making is set, clientele is set. The word is getting out there about the value. Marianne is good. The kids are good, etc. So it's great to be able to give back. So I'm giving back on campus by teaching. I'm giving back in my volunteer work with the Professional Coaches Alliance and California Coaches and facilitating that merger. And that's kind of what this book is all about. This version of Get a Clue in 52 is kind of like a give back, but it's for coaches, myself included. The 5 categories in this one are self-promotion, which we're in right now. Then engagement, enrollment or engagement. By title, it's engagement, but enrollment or engagement. If I'm a coach, I want people to enroll in coaching with me. But if I'm a leader inside of an organization with coaching in my toolbox, then I want people engaged in their position, the team, the org, right? So same thing, enrollment, engagement. Then it's motivation plus accountability equals results. So we've got those 2 sections, motivation and accountability. And we're going to wrap up the year with a lot of fun in my stream of consciousness writing style. Sue, it's going to be so fun to read the last 12 tips in the book when I've got like the theme of 99 bottles of beer on the wall in my head. 99 bottles of beer on the wall, but it's like 12 accountabilities on the wall, 12 accountabilities. You take one down, you pass it around, 11 accountabilities on the wall. So that's the rhythm of stream of consciousness joviality that I wrapped this book up with. And, by the time I got done writing it, I realized, oh my God, this really is for me. Like, I was like basically very often writing to myself and telling myself almost journalistically, journal style. What I have gone through or need to go through or am still working, you know what I mean? Like, it's as much memory as it is memoir, or mentoring as it is memoir. It's as much.
Go ahead. Future pacing, maybe. Are you, do you think, or not?
No, not
sort
so
of giving you those
much.
prompts to go, I've still got this to do.
Yeah. It's not future pacing, because to me, when I say future pacing is where I imagine what things are like in the future, and I speak about that as if it already exists, as if it happens right now, right? What I think is it's more, I guess, current pacing, right? But here I am saying, hey, Get a Clue in 52 for coaches, and then I was like, wait a second. like, yeah, I am at a place in my career where I've got a lot to give to coaches, emerging, aspiring coaches, right? I've been in the game 15, 16, 17 years or whatever it is. So, but I still have a lot to learn from everybody that's been in the game 15 years or more. That I have. I still have a lot to learn, but I've got to a place where I have a lot to give back to people. But in the process of writing something that I perceive to be a contribution to others, I realized, oh my God, I need to pay attention to this tip. And that happened in the, the entrepreneur edition of Get a Clue in 52. Vipul and I put so much into this book that we're both still working on and struggling through ourselves, the entrepreneur edition. And of course, I wrote the integrity game because I want more integrity in my life. So I wrote a book and I'm inviting the world to play with me. So basically everything I do is a party to have the world join me in the work I'm doing on myself. Isn't that funny? So here we go. Welcome to this installment of Get a Clue in 52 for coaches, ... That's where myself included. Right. This is for me too. And the book is dedicated to my family. They're doing amazing. Abigail came and visited San Diego State with me this week because they were out of school this week. And Brody can't wait to come to campus. And, AJ's doing great. Marianne's doing great. And on and on and on. So my family's the reason that, I try to feel like I deserve my family. I'm a lucky dude. So I try to make sure I help as many people as possible so I can sleep peacefully at night feeling like I deserve the great fortunes that I've been blessed with as far as the Klubeck family is concerned. It's just wonderful. It's never been better than it is right now, I don't think either. And then thanks Sue. I mean, I say that all the time, but it's really, I don't think it's ever been better than it is right now. And Troy Hoffman wrote the foreword for the book. A very, very, very special contribution. Very, very, very special man, Troy Hoffman. Thanks to you, Troy, for making your contribution and always playing full out in the land of personal and professional growth. Thank you for your friendship and your mentoring and being a great client of mine that sharpened my saw earlier in my career and all the ways that we continue to seek growth together. I love you, Troy. Thank you so much. And so like we know, we've got 5 categories. We're in self-promotion. So the first tip in the self-promotion category was start calling yourself a coach. It's a beautiful moment where we embrace that identity. And it's wildly exciting to realize how we can help people. But then we need to temper that a little bit and make sure that, okay, cool to be excited. I'm talking to myself right now. Great, Jeff. Congratulations. You're excited. But stop coaching everything that moves. Like only call yourself a coach when it really is relevant and viable for the listener rather than just unbridled excitement for this ability that you've got to make a difference for people. You can't make a difference for anybody until they're ready, until they're willing, until they seek it, until they give permission, until they ask. So temper that a little bit. And I'm basically wearing it on my sleeve about some of the pain that I went through early on when I was super excited about becoming a coach. And my apologies to anybody that I ever suffocated with all of my unbridled excitement. Like, sorry, didn't have your permission. Sorry, but you didn't do what you said you were going to do. Anyway, I'm sorry. I need your permission to hold you accountable. Okay. My apologies. Anyway, you understand what I'm getting at. I'm a coach. Slow down. Take a deep breath. Okay. Right. All right. Tip number 3 was don't just call yourself a coach. And I keep repeating, I love this Kluby snack that came out in the book. I'm not going to read it word for word, but the word just, it's often just a symptom of weakness or insecurity or unsure or lack of confidence or a veiled motive or something like that, right? Just try to eliminate that. But the other thing that I'm trying to build on the rest of the book is we're never, ever, ever just a coach. We're always more than a coach. We read a ton of stuff before we became a coach, and we still have all of that going for us. We have equity, whatever we did in our career that we're bringing in to this new endeavor coaching. Or once we become a coach, if we stay in the game long enough, we're going to become author, speaker, trainer, speaker, so many other things, right? So understand that. And then stop calling yourself a coach was tip number 4, because when you grow your practice, which we're going to talk about at the end of the book, to the point where there's more than just coaching on your menu. If coaching is the only thing that you provide, all I sell is coaching, okay, then only call yourself a coach, right? But I think to build a practice, you need to, there's a subtle and important difference between coaching and consulting, between coaching and mentoring, between coaching and training, between coaching and providing an info product, or these important distinctions are different ways to solve the same problems. But some people want coaching, some people want training, some people want group or private or one-on-one, or we need to be able to expand our menu to have a ton of offerings. And now we're in a solution providing business rather than a coaching business, right? So that's what I'm getting at with that, right? And then tip number 5 is get super honest about your why. This is appealing to how diluted your self-promotion will be if you can't get clear that you're a coach in part because you want to help people and all these other things. But let's face it, I want to make money coaching, either in addition to or in place of however I used to make money. Like, and I got to be clear about that. Yeah, I coach for business and I earn an income, and I'm not going to be shy or vague or, non-committed about the fact that there is a value here and there's an exchange of value, and coaching is worth every penny and then some, right? On and on and on. So we have to get honest about the money thing. A lot of coaches are drawn to this idea of helping people, but everybody wants to help somebody. Everybody wants to. So that's not a way to self-promote. It's actually hardly audible because everybody says it, right? We need other competitive advantages, other ways to self-promote ourselves, and we need to let the world know that, we're in business, right? There's an exchange of value here, right? And the more honest we are, super honest about that, the more fidelity our self-promotion will have. The more people won't be suspicious, if you will, to some degree. Or see us as weak or uncertain of ourselves. We got to get clear about all of that, right? And when we talk about our why, I like this Kluby snack, ... There was stuff that preceded it, but this can stand alone as the Kluby snack because every other answer to any other question depends on our honest answers to questions of purpose. And, Sue, you have a listening for the integrity game. That's the first of the 10 question sets in the integrity game. So, I love that one as well. And I already mentioned this. We become a coach either because we want to make money in addition to or in place of the way we used to. And everybody wants meaningful work with a monetized skill set that allows us to be ourselves and call our own shots. Everybody wants that. So that's not what's going to get people to buy from us when we're self-promoting on the way to getting people enrolled or engaged. There are other things that we're going to talk about down the road. So tip number 6 in this section was to get super confident about your what, right? And ultimately, in short form, we must welcome the transition from self-promotion to solution promotion. We have to, at some point, we're not promoting ourselves. I'm a coach. I can help. At some point, we have to talk about the problem and the solution. And like, even if we stack on with earlier tips, coaching is one solution, but training plus coaching is a better solution. Training plus coaching plus, right, a keynote speaker is an even better solution. Training plus coaching plus workshops plus a speaker and a couple of books is, a full suite of solutions to this problem, right? So we want to get, make and welcome this transition from self-promoting to solution promoting, which goes back to our menu. How many solutions do we have on our menu to the problems that you're facing, right? I'm teaching this to my students in organizational communication right now at San Diego State. I gave them access to my entire corporate soft skill library, and one of their assignments is to imagine challenges that organizations face, pick a challenge 2 or 3, and then create a proposal with 12 soft skill titles that you would present as solutions to those organizational challenges. I told them, don't write a paper, write a proposal.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm giving them the entire soft skills training library to work with. So, solution promotion is really, really cool. And then that took us to last week when we talked about getting professionally. Right. Margot's not with us today, but she's our resident in human resources, corporate, huge career in corporate HR. She's one of the most delightful women I've ever met. And, I say get professionally intimate to be HR compliant, professionally intimate with your who, right? And this, this gets into, we talked about be the animal and the really dedicated, careful effort that we take to really know our people so well that we can actually describe their problems better than they can. We can describe their desires better than they can, right? I mean, that's one of the magic moments. So you've probably seen me do this when somebody says something, and I go, oh, what you're saying is boom, boom, boom. And it comes out of my mouth more clearly, more succinctly, more accurately, because I feel what they were saying, but I'm so familiar with the problem, right?
You've done it to me.
Yeah, right. Like, yes, that's exactly right. And that's a feeling to be understood, isn't it? Can you talk about that for a second while I get ready to take my deep breath and maybe a sip of water before I read tip number 8 word for word? What's the feeling like when it's one thing to say, hey, I understand how you feel. That doesn't get it the way that communicating, restating the problem or wordsmithing it. Can you talk about that?
it's an incredible feeling when being in a coach, particularly in a coaching situation where I talked through something and then you reflected on that, but you came back in such a way that it gave it clarity. It helped me actually to understand even deeper what I was trying to say, and gave me, and sometimes it's even given me a different perspective too. I've thought of the problem in one dimension maybe, or through one set of eyes, and then you've offered maybe a different way of viewing it. And that's really helped to understand it more clearly, see where I fit into the problem, and then how I might address it.
Yeah, it's like I that's happened to me, right? When I go, yes. And now, first of all, I feel understood, but then immediately after that is I don't feel alone.
True.
And almost within the same millisecond of those things occurring, this other thing happens where I feel empowered.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
And you feel heard.
Understood, connected, and empowered, all in this effort that we take to know our people really well. And so now in the context of self-promotion, right, I'm not promoting anything about myself other than how dedicated I am to knowing you. And like, who else do you want to work with other than me at that point, right? Somebody else would have to be just as committed to knowing you and the problem and being able to re-articulate on and on. So it's so fun how we can get into a half-hour conversation on any one of these tips. It's just really a lot of fun to go through this. But that takes us, thank you for elaborating on that for me. And now that takes us to tip number 8, which is forget your, it's fun to say, right? Without spitting all over my screen. Like F your how, you know what I'm saying? So I'll read word for word and this will come up. But like, basically, you understand what I'm getting at, the how. If I could just show you from the table of contents, right? Start, only, don't, stop. You guys, you see that? Start calling yourself a coach, only call yourself a coach, don't just call yourself a coach, stop calling yourself a coach, and then get, right, the why, the what, the who, the how. So there's a patternistic rhythm to what I'm, how I've organized these tips. I have fun with myself like that, right? do you know what you know me, Sue, right? So F your how. All right. So here we go, word for word. Tip number 8, get a clue in 52 for coaches, myself included. F my how, F your how, F our how. Here we go. There is a classic tip from just about any sales training you have ever been to that simply goes like this: sell benefits, not features. Now, if this is the first time you are hearing that phrase/idea, sell benefits, not features, let me explain very simply. It is always a safe assumption that people mostly care about themselves or the with them, WIIFM, quote, parentheses, what is in it for me? We referred to earlier in this section. Lots of salespeople make the mistake of going on and on about the features of a product or service instead of its benefits. One reason they do this is the same reason people want their speeches written out word for word. They are afraid of forgetting or making mistakes, so they want the illusion of certainty that having the whole thing written out word for word gives them. Same thing with coaches who are afraid of being rejected or not making a sale and want the illusion of certainty that explaining how coaching works gives them. As simply as I can say it, benefits are all the answers to 2 questions. What will the client get? How will the client feel? I'm going to say this again. Sue, are you ready? Right? As simply as I could say it, benefits are all of the answers to 2 questions. What will the client get? How will the client feel? That's it. Just like in tip 7, when you are self-promoting with tip number 8, you are not really promoting anything about yourself at all. You are promoting what people will get and or how they will feel when they work with you. Now, be clear that if a prospect asks you about your features or the how-to of delivering your coaching, then of course you answer. But you do so knowing that you are not self-promoting so much as addressing concerns, handling objections, or some other aspect of a sales dialogue. Be brief in these instances and always seek to add benefits to any answer you give about features/process. You're nodding there. I'm going to read that again then, Sue. Okay. All right. Now, be clear that if a prospect asks you about your features or the how-to of delivering your coaching, then of course you answer. But you do so knowing that you're not self-promoting so much as addressing their concerns, handling their objections, or some other aspect of a sales dialogue. Be brief in these instances and always seek to add something about benefits when you're answering any questions about features or process. Okay, here's a very simple example of making sure to include benefits even if asked a how. The coaching program includes a recurring schedule of sessions, access to hours of coaching content online, and unlimited texting check-ins, so you have the certainty and confidence of knowing that in some form or another your coach is always there for you. You guys see, and that's it. That's the tip. But do you see how here's what you get: recurring sessions, access, but then this is what, right? What do you get? How does it feel? What do you get? So certainty and confidence, right? That's a benefit that I added to the how does it work and does this make sense to you, right?
Yep.
So very, very brief. And if they ask me other questions, they can ask me more questions, right? There's a percentage of the people that we work with, especially analyticals. How does it work? How did you get trained? How long have you been a coach? Have you ever worked with people like me? How do I know that this is going to work? Tell me the process again. How do I prepare? Am I ready to? There's people that are going to have, that's been like 25% of our, people, right? Other people with my behavioral style, I don't care how it works. Just get me better. Like you follow. And then there's stuff in between all of that. But that is the tip for today is tip number 8. And it's forget your how unless you're asked about it, and then be brief when answering. And when answering, be sure to add benefits. Always have command of the benefits. Always know what people get and how that will make them feel. What will they get? How that will make them feel. What will they get? How will that make them feel? Okay. And that's really what we're getting at here. That's the idea about benefits. And again, I love that little quote about when you're talking about benefits, you're not really self-promoting at all. When you talk about features, you're self-promoting. Oh, my thing is great. My thing is great. My thing is great because let me show you how it works. I'm so enamored with how it works. Let me show you how I put it together. Let me show you how I worked on it. They don't care. They go, what do I get now? Will that make me feel? Okay. And that's something important for coaches to understand. And so we can't avoid a sales conversation by getting lost in our features and benefits.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So what say you, Sue?
Something that's coming to mind, and I'd be interested in your comments. I wonder if coaching differs slightly to, say, in other normal sales processes where, and a trap that we might fall into is trying to always give a positive spin to, or that you're going to feel good. In coaching, there's going to be those situations, and it's still a benefit because the benefit is you might be confronting something in a new way, but that's going to be uncomfortable.
Yeah.
That could be really challenging. So it's being able to frame that really carefully and take the time to think about how do you speak that truth.
Yeah. There's a lot of ways. Yeah. I mean, well, first of all, the first part of your question is coaching different than other sales processes in that the rest of the regard that you articulated in? And I would say, I would start just by the simplicity of it, like yes and no, right? Sales is sales and sales is sales, right? You're selling to a want or you're selling to a need, right? And you have to stack, like imagine a scale, right? I think I learned this from Tony Robbins, right? Like there's imagine a scale, and on one side is the drab, right? The dominant reasons to avoid buying. I'm afraid my wife won't support it. I don't know if I can afford it. I'm skeptical. I don't, there's common usual suspects, things that prevent people from moving forward, right? Does that make sense? Dominant reasons to avoid buying. That's on one, one tray on the scale, right? And so, coaching is no different from anything else in this regard, right? This is one part of answer to your question. Coaching is no different from anything else. We just have to stack the other side of that scale with, compelling reasons to buy now. I think he called it the lurban and the urban, right? Like the logical reasons to buy now. What do I get? And the urban, the emotional reasons to buy now. How will I feel?
Yeah.
So he's like, if you got the drab and you just got to stack it up with, you stack the other side with the lurban and the urban. This is like, God, I can't believe I'm recalling this with that specificity after like, I think I learned this 17 years ago, and like, it's coming clear now. Like, I don't know, man. I never thought I had a photographic memory, but all of a sudden I'm seeing stuff. Anyway, here's what's going on. Are you ready? Right? So do you understand what I'm meaning? It's like, hey, what will I get? Well, you're going to get a Zoom link and the bat phone and break glass in case of emergency, and we'll send out a customized integrity game journal to you, and you get if you're a client with at least 12 sessions or more, you get half off for this and that. You get but I don't know what you really get is you get to feel connected, you get to feel certain, you get to feel significant, you get to feel excitement, and including all of the times that you're challenged and confronted.
Yeah
I just slipped it in there. The challenged and confronted piece, right? Okay, so now it's just one piece on top of this stack that I'm trying to build to outweigh the dominant reasons to avoid buying. I just want my lurban and urban to be heavier, more compelling, way more than the drab. I know you've got reasons to hold back. That's what we're talking about when we're talking about addressing concerns and identifying and addressing concerns. In sales, they call it handling objections, right? Now, we're going to talk about this a lot more in the next section, right, which is about engagement and enrollment, where really all of the tips break down my approach to 2 complementary coaching sessions. Now I built my coaching practice on that, right? Right now we're talking about self-promotion, okay? And so from that perspective, we're not in the sales dialogue conversation yet, but I wanted to answer your question fully, right? You know me, you can ask me about anything in the book or anything under, if you're taking the time to be here, you can ask me anything about this book, any other book, or anything under the sun, and I'll do my best to answer. So you know that, right? But I'm just setting context for anybody that's following along and orienting and previewing things to look forward to. But I'll give you more answer to this question now. So you understand it's the same. It's the same. The lurban and the urban has to outweigh the drab. I don't care what you're selling. Okay. So in that sense, it's the same. Now, here's where it starts to differ. Coaching is a service rather than a product. Right? A car wash is a service, but it's like something that everybody knows about since the beginning of time. Since the beginning of car washes. Right? Getting your hair done, sore subject, is a service, right? But a bottle of shampoo is a product. You get it? So now we can talk about, coaching is different from other sales dialogues because the way that the salon person talks to you about coming back for this and that and the this and the other is different than when they walk you to the register. Hey, do you want me to put some product in your bag to go? Totally different. You got to work totally differently to just throw a bottle of shampoo in the bag than you have to do to come into the chair 2 times a month instead of once a month. Do you understand? You're like, in one hand, so you're asking somebody to change their lifestyle. You follow? So coaching is not an impulse purchase by the side of the register like a keychain or a bottle of 5-hour energy that you just shoot down so you can drive. You know what I'm saying? Like, right? And now the other thing too is, so you understand another way it differentiates from other services, right, is people's perception of the difference between a want and a need for coaching. So first of all, there's some people that don't even know what coaching is still, despite how much it's grown, in the past 15 years. Like, I've been coaching since before it was cool. Many people told me, oh my God, you've been coaching since when? Wow, since before it was cool, right? And I thought it was cool when I learned it, right? But what I've learned in the past 15 years is that a lot of people have jumped into the game, and that's kind of cool too, because there's a lot of people that aren't doing it well and aren't doing it thoroughly, and they're saying they're doing it, but they're not really doing it for money, or they still have jobs, and I still had a job. I was teaching when part-time when I was building my coaching practice, and now I'm teaching part-time again, coming out of retirement. So anyway, my point is that a lot of people don't understand what coaching is. Right. So now, first of all, what it is by itself, and then second of all, how it differs from mentoring, how it differs from friendship. Wait, how is coaching different from having an accountability partner? Well, a coach really knows how to hold you accountability partner, and accountability partners know how to let each other off the hook. All right. You follow? How is coaching different from training? How is coaching different from? So first of all, understanding it in and of itself, and then understanding how it differs from anything else that they may have known about or been familiar with in the land. How is coaching different from a mastermind? How is coaching different from an info product? How is different from a webinar, seminar, workshop? How is coaching different from training? How is coaching different from reading a book? Like, can I just, do I need to pay somebody who just read a book to tell me what they read in the book? Well, it depends on how much time you have to read the book versus if it's worth somebody who read the book, right? Like people have a hard time understanding what coaching is in and of itself, especially compared to other things they are familiar with. So now we do have more work to do. Does that make sense? So on the one hand, it's not different at all. You guys stack the Lurban and the Urban more heavy than the Drab, but we have different things that we put onto that scale than selling a product. Selling a product versus a service. We have different things that we put onto that scale, selling coaching service versus any other service we could offer that people might be more familiar with, on and on. So there's a lot of challenges to practice that I think that I'm summarizing for you here. This is that I'm hoping.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that if we self-promote and we can get through the mind game of really, implementing these tips, right? Especially when we get into the why and the who of what we're doing in self-promotion, right? And then the what, the why. Why am I doing this? Who am I doing this for? And what problems do I solve? We can get past all the other stuff and get into that. Now we're going to start having menu, and we're going to start wanting to shout from the rooftops what we do. Like I can't sit still without once a week, twice a week, letting people know what I'm doing. Because I'm confident in the menu that I've built and all the solutions that I've built up, right? But as confident as I am, I'm still not happy and not satisfied. You got so much room for growth and so many more things to develop, right? But I got to the where you can't keep me quiet, letting people know about the solutions that I have to the problems they face, right? So does that answer your questions?
Yeah, it's really helpful. Really helpful. Yeah.
All right. Other questions or comments? We're at 30 minutes in. I don't feel the need to stay on just for the sake of some time thing. If our legs have hit the ground here, unless you have any other comments or questions that come to mind. So I'm always grateful that you're showing up.
I don't. Pleasure. No, I don't have anything else specific on this one.
All right. Very cool. Well, on behalf of everybody that wanted to be here but couldn't because it's a special start time, let me thank you, Sue, for representing the thousands of people that wish they could be here. No, I'm teasing myself. We're wrapping up another installment of Get A Klu 52 for coaches, myself included. And my gratitude goes to Sue, who's joining all the way from, you're in Melbourne, right?
Yes.
Yep, Melbourne. I don't know. Just want to make sure. Melbourne, Australia. Fun memories. I can't wait to get back there soon. Hopefully soon. And but we'll see everybody. I got to make a new. Keep your eyes peeled for when the messages and the notifications, the invitations, the posts, because it won't be Friday next week. I'm in that all day thing, so it's either going to be Thursday. It might maybe Friday night. Maybe I'll do it Friday night, like 5, 6, 7 o'clock in the evening. Doubtful. But maybe I'm going to make a decision on when it'll be. It could be Saturday morning. It could be Thursday night in advance of Friday. Like if I do it at 10 p.m. Thursday night, technically that's Friday somewhere. Anyway, you know what I'm saying. I'm just having fun with it. I just want to be consistent. Yeah, I just want to be consistent and make sure I read a tip every week and document it, get the recording, populate social media, and be available for free in 1 or 2 ways per week, because otherwise it's a pretty penny to hang out with me. So I like being of service, giving back, making a contribution, and I hope this is doing myself and the community proud. I hope everybody's getting value from this. And thank you, Sue, for making it dynamic and interactive. Thank you so much. We'll see everyone next week. Thank you, guys. Take care.
Pleasure. Bye.